The moment my stepmom screamed, "Get out of my house!" With her finger trembling and pointing straight at my face, I felt something snap inside me, like a thin piece of wire that had been stretched too tight for too long. I remember looking over at my dad, expecting him to say something, anything, even just my name in that tired, disappointed tone he used sometimes. But he didn't move, he didn't blink, he didn't defend me. He just stood there with his hands shoved deep into his pockets like he was watching a stranger get thrown out instead of his own child. And when I finally grabbed my bag and walked toward the door, I still kept waiting for him to stop me. He never did. Tell me honestly, was I wrong for what I did next? Because after everything that happened, a part of me still wonders whether I went too far, or if it was finally time someone stood up to them. To explain how everything fell apart that night, I need to start at the beginning, or at least at the moment everything began changing around me without my permission. My mom passed away when I was 11. People always talk about losing a parent as if it's one heartbreaking moment, but the truth is, it's a series of 1,000 tiny losses afterward. Her empty chair at breakfast. Her handwriting on old recipe cards. The faint smell of her perfume fading from the hall closet. For a long time, it was just me and my dad, two half-broken people trying to act like we weren't. He wasn't perfect, but he tried. He really did. But then he met her, Angela. She came into his life like a sudden gust of warm wind. At first, she was sweet. Overly sweet, now that I think back on it. She'd bake cookies when I had tests at school, compliment my drawings, buy me little things, just because, always with this exaggerated smile that felt like it was plastered onto her face. I didn't trust it, but Dad seemed happier, lighter, like he had found something he'd been missing for years. So even when I felt the pit in my stomach growing, I stayed quiet. I wanted him to have something good. The real shift happened right after they got married. Suddenly the woman who used to coo about how cute and polite I was began pointing out every tiny thing I did wrong. Dishes left in the sink overnight. Your mother never taught you responsibility. Forgot to fold a load of laundry. Your mom would be ashamed. Got a B on a math exam. No wonder your father is always stressed. She had this way of bringing up my mom, twisting the knife in a wound I thought had healed. My dad tried to play mediator, but little by little, I saw him shrink under her influence, like she was convincing him that everything about me was a problem. The house slowly filled with her rules. No shoes here, no bags there, don't touch this cabinet, don't sit on this couch unless you use the good throw blanket, don't leave your phone charging in the hallway outlet, that's her outlet. Before long, I felt like a guest in my own home. Then she had a baby. That's when everything truly changed. I knew the baby would shift priorities, but I didn't expect to become invisible. Or worse, a burden. Suddenly, we became them. Angela's favorite phrase turned into the family, and whenever she said it, she never included me. I was just the leftover, the remnant of Dad's past life, the reminder of another woman he once loved. I tried to keep my head down, but she made it impossible. She'd nag at me for the smallest things, and if I dared talk back, her voice would rise just enough to make me sound like the aggressor. And Dad, he always sided with her. Maybe he was scared of rocking the boat. Maybe he genuinely believed her. Maybe he was just tired. I don't know. But the day everything blew up, that was the day I stopped making excuses for him. It was a Saturday afternoon. I'd come home from school feeling exhausted. My aunt, my mom's sister, had picked me up earlier in the week because I'd been sick, and she'd kept me at her place until I felt better. When I finally walked into the house with my duffel bag still slung over my shoulder, Angela's eyes narrowed immediately. She was holding the baby, bouncing him slightly, but her expression was cold, like she had been waiting for me. "You didn't tell us you were leaving," she snapped before I even had a chance to take off my shoes. I blinked. "Aunt May called you. She told Dad. The school called too. I wasn't feeling well. You think I believe that?" she hissed. My dad was sitting at the table, pretending to read something on his phone. "I was sick," I said quietly. "Ask the nurse." Angela cut me off. "Don't talk to me like I'm stupid." "I didn't. You left. You didn't ask permission. You didn't check in. You didn't respect the rules of this house." I felt my jaw clench. "I'm not a prisoner." The second those words left my mouth, I knew I'd triggered something. Her face twisted, and she shoved the baby into Dad's arms so she could fully face me. "Prisoner," she repeated. "You want to talk about being a prisoner? I cook for you, clean after you, deal with your attitude every single day. I am tired of raising someone who isn't even mine." Dad flinched, but he didn't say anything. "You're right," I whispered. "I'm not yours. But you don't get to talk about my mom like." She stepped closer, eyes blazing. "Your mom is dead. I am the woman of this house." The silence afterward was suffocating. My hands shook. My throat burned. I looked at my dad, begging him to say something, to stop her, to defend me, to defend my mother's memory. He didn't look up from the baby. Angela took a deep breath, pointed at the door, and screamed, "Get out of my house." I stared at her, numb. "Dad," I whispered. He shifted the baby in his arms. "Maybe it's best if you stay with your aunt for a while." Those words, I still hear them sometimes when I try to fall asleep. So I left. I walked out with nothing but my bag and whatever dignity I had left. But that wasn't the end of the story. Not even close. My aunt opened the door before I could even knock. She took one look at my swollen eyes and trembling hands and didn't ask a single question. She just hugged me. A long, warm, motherly hug, the kind I hadn't felt in years. When I finally told her what happened, she didn't react with shock. Instead, her expression darkened in a way I'd never seen before. "That woman has been poisoning your father against you since the day she met him," she said quietly. "I knew it. I warned him. He didn't listen." I stayed silent. My aunt sat down beside me. "You're not going back there. Not until we handle this properly." And that's where everything took a turn. Because my aunt wasn't just my mom's sister. She was also the executor of my mom's estate. Something I didn't fully understand until that moment. About halfway through this whole mess, I started realizing I had a choice, a big one. And I want you, the viewer, to really think about this before I continue. So that's the situation I was in. My stepmom had kicked me out, my dad let it happen, and my aunt suddenly had information that could change everything. Before I tell you what I did next, I want you to pause for a second and comment below, what would you have done in my shoes? Would you fight back? Would you confront them? Would you walk away forever? I genuinely want to know, because the way everything unfolded next still feels surreal to me. Now, here's where the story reaches its climax. The next morning, my aunt sat me down with a folder. Inside were documents, legal documents, detailing something my mom had set up before she died. According to her will, my dad could remain in the house only as long as he fulfilled one condition: he had to care for me until I turned 18. If he failed to do that, the house automatically transferred fully to me. No loopholes. No exceptions. My aunt had warned him years ago not to remarry someone who created an unsafe environment for me. He ignored her. My aunt looked at me and said, "If they kicked you out, that means he violated the agreement." I stared at the papers, stunned. "What does that mean?" She smiled sadly. "It means the house is legally yours now." It didn't feel real. It didn't feel possible. But she contacted the lawyer that afternoon, and by evening, everything was set in motion. The lawyer sent formal notice to my dad. According to the will, he had 30 days to vacate the house, my mother's house, the house Angela had stormed through acting like a queen. And there was absolutely nothing they could do about it. The meltdown that followed, oh, I wish I could say I felt guilty. But I didn't. My dad called first, voice shaking. "Why are you doing this? You let her throw me out," I said quietly. "Mom trusted you." Then Angela called, screaming at me, threatening me, begging me, insulting me, crying, all within the same 30 seconds. I hung up. 30 days later, my aunt drove me to the house. They had moved out the night before. The place felt empty, strangely peaceful. My childhood home, mine again. Not because I fought for it, but because my mom had fought for me years earlier. In the aftermath, my dad tried to reconcile. I let him talk, but something inside me had already changed. You can love someone and still choose to protect yourself from them. Angela never tried to apologize. She probably still blames me for everything. I moved into the house with my aunt. She helped me redecorate, repaint, restore everything Angela had tried to erase. Slowly, room by room, I brought my mom back into the house she left behind. And me, I learned that silence can be more damaging than words. That sometimes the parent you need isn't the one you're born with. And that family isn't defined by who shares your blood, but by who protects your heart. If you're still listening, thank you for letting me share all of this. And before I go, let me leave you with this. Stand up for yourself, even when the person you're standing up to is someone you love. Especially then. Like this video if you were on my side. Subscribe for more stories like this. And tell me your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments. I want to hear what you think. I'll see you all in the next story.